during those very, very famous MAGA rallies. Well, let's listen right now to Donald Trump calling in to Fox News Channel.
Then, of course, Bill Hemmer, we are about to be joined, I understand, by the president, the former president of the United States, who you know gave the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2020 at the State of the Union address to Rush Limbaugh. President Trump, are you with me?
I am, and it was a great honor to do so. When we gave the Medal of Freedom, it was something special. It was an incredible night. We gave it during the State of the Union address, and it was especially half the room. Half the room went crazy, and the other half the room, they knew he should get it. But it was special, and he was special.
Mr. President, thank you for joining us. When was the last time you spoke with Rush Limbaugh?
3 or 4 days ago. I'd call him just to find out. You know, his fight was very, very courageous, and he was very, very sick. And, you know, from diagnosis on, it was just something that was not going to be beaten, but you wouldn't know it. And he is married to an incredible woman, Catherine, who really, every time I spoke to him, he would tell me how great she was. She took such great care. He was very brave. I mean, he, in theory, could have been gone 4 months ago, really. He was fighting till the very end. He was a fighter.
While
and just a great gentleman.
While you were in the White House, how did you view how he either carried on your message or chose to agree or disagree with the policies you had as Commander-in-Chief?
Well, first of all, you know, you just had Sean Hannity. He was incredible. And Sean would say there is nobody like Rush. Sean was the first to say that I used to say, well, what do you think someday? And he'd say he's irreplaceable. Rush is irreplaceable, unique. He had an audience that was massive. And, you know, he could do something, Bill, and he would get up in the show and would just talk. He wouldn't take phone calls where, you know, people would call in every 2 minutes, and that's sort of easy to do. He would just talk for 2 hours and 3 hours, just talk. And that's not an easy thing to do. And I once asked him, I said, do you study for the show? And he said, actually, I study very hard, which a little bit, Harris said, a little bit surprised me. But he was a fantastic man, a fantastic talent. And people, whether they loved him or not, they respected him. They really did.
President Trump, if you would stay with us for just about a minute and a half or maybe a little longer, we want to show the day that you gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Let's watch that together, and then I have a follow-up question on the flip side.
Okay.
And Rush, in recognition of all that you have done for our nation, the millions of people a day that you speak to and that you inspire, and all of the incredible work that you have done for charity, I am proud to announce tonight that you will be receiving our country's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. I will now ask the First Lady of the United States to present you with the honor, please. Rush and Catherine, congratulations.
And if you are just tuning in, we are joined by President number 45, former President Donald J. Trump. And you saw him there along with the First Lady awarding Rush Limbaugh, who has left us today, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. And President Trump, I have always wondered, just seeing the look of surprise on Rush's face, what he knew about that moment and what you learned that he was going through in that moment after. He is succumbed to tears, and I was curious, what did he know was coming?
So I did tell him beforehand, because we didn't have the really the power of not doing it. You know, Rush was very sick at the time. He was at a hospital in Boston, and I didn't want to do the surprise thing. I wish I could have done that, but we really didn't have that power of doing it, because he had to, it was a very difficult thing for him to come into Washington from where he was, and he did it. And there was questions as to whether or not he was just a very brave guy. He was amazing, and he came in, and it was, as he told me, it was the greatest honor of his life. And everybody in the room, you know, you're talking about the Republicans and the Democrats. You had half of that room went crazy. You remember the evening well, I'm sure. It was a very unique moment.
Yes.
In our country's history, in a sense, because of who Rush is. But half went just absolutely crazy. The other half sat totally dead silent, but 100% of that room respected Rush. It was a unique guy, and he was he became a friend of mine. You know, I didn't know Rush at all. I had essentially never met Rush. And then when we came down the escalator, he liked my rather controversial speech. I made that speech that was a little bit on the controversial side, and he loved it. And he was, without ever having met him or talked to him or, you know, had lunch with him or asked him, he was with me right from the beginning. And he liked what I said, and he agreed with what I said, and he was just a great gentleman, great man.
Mr. President.
That is such fascinating detail that you're giving, Mr. President, about how you didn't really know him all that well, yet he became someone who carried your message. I'm curious to know what you wanted him to know, and maybe you got to tell him in the last 3 or 4 days that you spoke about the difference that he made for you.
Well, I think he did, and I've heard as many as 39 million people. You know, that's an audience that you don't hear about anymore. And I heard 39 million people. And I don't know if you remember, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I did his show, and I heard they had a tremendous audience, and it lasted for like a long time. The interview was like an hour, and it just went right through, and it was... His questions were fascinating. I think the show was fascinating. He had a way of, he had an insight that few people have, just few people have, even really good ones, really pros in your business. And by the way, you two are some great combination. You and Bill together, Harris, that's a great combination.
Then, of course, Bill Hemmer, we are about to be...
And that was the exclusive interview that we heard just moments ago on Fox News Channel. So thank you for letting them let us showcase that to you. And I will also want to address right now, there was a statement that was made by Donald Trump as well. So let me just read this off as well. The great Rush Limbaugh has passed away to a better place, free from physical pain and hostility. His honor, courage, strength, and loyalty will never be replaced. Rush was a patriot, a defender of liberty, and someone who believed in all of the greatness our country stands for. Rush was a friend to myself and millions of Americans, a guiding light with the ability to see the truth and paint vivid pictures over the airwaves. Melania and I express our deepest condolences to his wonderful wife, Catherine, his family, and all of his dedicated fans. He will be missed greatly. And that was the statement there by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States there. And as the day continues, obviously there will be more remembering and honoring Rush Limbaugh, and we will get to those as they come in right here on NewsNOW from Fox, everybody. We're going to take a